There's many ways I can say many things, and I have, but one of these videos, because I do feel angry. It's like righteous anger or something. The truth, and then I can scream it into the phone or whatever. But it's not about me getting you to believe what I'm saying. That's a wasted effort. I mean, I'm sure God can use it. He comforts me there. But I don't want to do that. So I feel like it's this may God do for you what he is doing for me. May God do for you what he is doing for me. And maybe it opens your ears, and faith being you hear by faith, or what is it? Faith is increased by hearing, or something like that. What is possible with God? What I believe he is doing with me, and what he is doing with me in my weakness. Meaning it's not something that I'm trying to acquire. It's not something that I'm looking to myself to produce. But in that place, that opposite, upside down, Stranger Things world, where faith seems to really be the place I can't hold myself, I can't carry myself, I can't do those impossible things of God. He is doing that. The impossible things of man, he is doing because he is the God of impossible. May he do that for you like he is doing it for me. Setting me free from a former way of thinking. Taking it down to the root. Because I think whenever, and this is what will be good. I've preached about this. I guess you could say preached. When someone believes that they are lacking subconsciously, I don't mean what you try to cover yourself up with in your head with what you read in the Bible. I mean your subconscious beliefs that have probably been influenced by darkness. I am lacking. Then what is good is going to be what is going to cover this lack. That is what we're going to try to understand. That is the way in which we are going to teach from. And so teachers who believe they are lacking are going to teach students how to cover themselves. And those students are going to say that the covering is good. And then the covering is going to become so normalized. And this is how we can cover ourselves more. This is how we cover ourselves more. And you feel like you're making progress. But all you're really doing is just adding more weight to yourself. And may God do for you what he is doing with me, which is taking everything off of me that I have learned before that was tainted in religious bondage. Because that's really what it is. If you believe that you're coming from a place of lack, I believe what you're going to be attracted to is religious bondage. Some way of trying to work out your own righteousness. And look, this isn't a thing, because this is what I think makes most of my videos very unpopular, is it will be a place of your weakness. It's like you come to know of this desperation and this need that you have to know the truth. And the weak position is you cannot know what has not been revealed to you yet. So you wait and endure to then know what you are waiting to. You wait to know, and in waiting to know you have to endure for what has been hidden to be revealed to you. It seems to be that what has been revealed on this earth does not help me anymore. It is not good. It seems to be tainted in this religious way of thinking. So may he do for you what he is doing for me, which is a new language. It seems to be this righteousness and this wholeness, that you stop looking at yourself in this supernatural way. It's not you in your own strength making time for God and focusing on God. I know we're so good about that in the church. We have our 2024 goals to make God more of the focus. But you're going to pick up some religious form of bondage because subconsciously you've been deceived to believe that your focus with God is not enough focus. But it has nothing to do with your focus with God. You do not see the way in which he sees. And when you see the way in which he sees, you will be set free from the way that you saw before. Because the way that you saw before is the way that you understood before. The way in which I understood before, which came with the normalization of religious bondage. It all seems to begin with, are you evil or are you good? I think the sinful perspective has deceived us to believe that we are inherently evil, trying to get to good. And we can't get to good in our own strength, and that's why we have Jesus. But I want to take it a step further. And I might sound crazy and I might be delusional, but I think that the truth that has been shown to me is not good enough anyway. And so at least I'm aiming in the right direction. I don't think we were born evil. I think we were born in an atmosphere of sin, and that sin polluted us. It took what was innocent and made it no longer innocent. And the walk with God is enduring through what you picked up before in darkness, being stripped of what you learned in darkness, and being prepared for the light of his perspective that says you were always good to me. You began to believe evil things about yourself and that you were lacking, and then you started to do that behavior, and then you were accused about being that person that you were doing in your behavior. And ever since then, you've been trying to cover yourself with religious bondage, and then your religious bondage is attracted the hearing to teachers that speak from the same place, that seem to have had a handle on it, or they're good at preaching or something. Here's what we can do. Here's what we can do. Here's what we need to do. All of this calling out, which sounds good. It's like packaged in this good wrapper, but then it's like you suck on the Jolly Rancher long enough and you find that, oh, this shit actually is pretty terrible. You know what I'm saying? But like, for the longest time, they're like, this is good, this is good, this is good. But may he do for you what he is doing for me, and he's changing the way that I think. It seems to be a process of repentance. I am being set free from a former way of thinking. I'm not looking at myself as lacking in the same way. I'm not looking to myself to do things. I'm not looking to myself not to do things. I am set free. I do not operate in the way in which I operated before. It is possible with God. It is greater with God. The freedom that he has for you, that he is giving to me, that he's bringing me into, is immense. And I'm finding that it comes with everything already. It's already there. It all seems to fit perfectly. And it seems to fit uniquely and perfectly for me. And the things that I preach about don't really like heighten man. Like I've talked about weakness. Like that's not exactly something that's like I'm puffed up or whatever. But when God shows that a man who is ashamed of his weakness because he was deceived about his weakness, that there's actually honor there, he will boast in his weaknesses. Because he is changing the way I see my weaknesses. Because in my weaknesses, I was trying to cover them up with strengths. And I pick up religious bondage. I believe that I'm lacking because I am weak. And in what I can't do, I try to pick up and do the most of whatever. And there are many teachers, and like a magnet, your ears will be attracted to that religious form of bondage until God gives you new ears and new eyes and a new appetite. It will be the Spirit of the living God that shifts you. You're like, oh, that's not good anymore. You're talking about religious bondage. You guys are all talking about religious bondage. You can't help but talk about religious bondage because that is what sounds good to you. Chasing the carrot at the string, but never getting to the carrot. But the distraction away from of ourselves and how we feel ashamed of our unbelief. Right? So I'm going to keep chasing this carrot. I'm going to keep chasing this carrot. I'm going to keep holding on. I'm going to keep doing all of these things. It's like I don't want to be around these people. Because what is in me will judge what is in them. And you will have to be ready to be around me. And I will have to be ready to be around you. And I don't mean you. I just mean like whatever mindset that's in. Because I don't really like judging people. I don't think that's really that cool. I like judging where people are. And when I mean where they are, it's where they are in their own understanding. And how you can get from one understanding to a new understanding is the power of the living God. Period. And that will be in a weak place. Because you will understand what has been taught to you. And most likely be tangled up in what has been normalized. And that is so ingrained in the way that you think and the way that I think that you need someone to rescue you from that level of captivity by first showing you just how bound you are. How bound I have been. Oh my God. I picked up so many things in the dark. I've been blaming myself for so long in the dark. I've been trying to cover myself for so long in the dark. But the perspective of his light is giving me a new way to see, and that is setting me free. And may he do the same thing for you. That will have you put down the former things, all religious ways of thinking and being and doing.